It isn't. I believe they're all the same source, and we've scattered purposely in different directions, because God forbid if we all unite one day and all realize that, yes, you know, this is the same source and it is interacting with us in numerous ways, then we'll realize very quickly that you can't just go and disclose that. That's a massive, massive. So death, the process of that, you know, is that, yes, people do come back. Yes, they interconnect with a circle of people in life. So that, say, for instance, your life, you'll meet 3,500 people that are close in your inner circle. That 3,500 people are in your next life, but you might rotate. So
playing different roles.
You play different roles, sometimes different sexes, but you're played out in it's a computer program. That's all it is. It's just a mathematical computer program. It takes that block of memory. It goes, okay, that's your memory, and I'm going to put it over here, but it's going to shuffle it.
Okay.
What it does is shuffles it around for you to replay and gather information again. Just a circuit. It's just another. The Matrix is just doing its job. I mean, I've cleared houses of disturbances I've never even been to, because I just tell them, get this, get this, and get this.
Now, Mr. Mera, on that note, I've always wanted to ask you about your necklace, your iron necklace, right?
Yeah.
How effective has that iron necklace or amulet that you have around your neck in keeping the phenomena at bay, the negative aspects of it?
Well, you know, let's just put it this way, yeah? Once it came off, I lifted a T-shirt off, and it came off accidentally with my T-shirt. I didn't know it come off. I put the T-shirt in the washing basket, and I didn't even know I didn't have it on for a day or two, and all hell broke loose.
Really?
And
wow.
That what's made me think, what the hell is going on? Then I realised, where is it? And I thought, I had to backtrack. I finally got it. But the thing is that that's only because I'm heavily involved. Oh, the phenomenon knows me by my first name. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? We've been punished sometimes by the phenomenon. It doesn't. What we get into heavy research, myself and Barry Fitzgerald, who's my colleague. We did something on demons. What was it now? Sumerian demonology, which are dogmen. Funny enough, Sumerian demons are dogmen.
Okay.
And we did a heavy lot of research, and all hell broke loose that night at my house.
What do you mean? Like what? What happened?
Well, it started off at 2:10 in the morning. I got up, went down. I was thirsty. I went down and had a drink. Actually, no, it started about 7:30, 8 in the evening. I was watching television, and I got the urge to go outside, which I do. I follow me instinct. Went outside, opened the back door, went out into the garden. There was an object in the sky. It was a craft. It wasn't a light. It was a craft.
Okay.
And it sat motionlessly in the sky, and I took photos, and I took some video, and then after about 10 minutes, it still sat there, and I got bored, and I went in.
You got bored?
I see a lot of these things.
Sure.
So I went in, and I thought, it was a bit odd. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes I get the inclination to go and look. It's like tapping at my conscious door and saying, come and have a look, you know, and that's what they do. And I thought no more of it. And then about 2:10 in the morning, I got up to have a drink, and then I went to the bathroom, just got back into bed when something came up from under the bed, through the mattress, and grabbed hold of me.
What?
And I struggled to hell trying to get off this thing. This thing had a good grip. And it was really difficult, but, you know, I kicking out, and I was having a right go. Anyway, I finally got this thing off, and I just got annoyed. I was angry. I thought to myself, I stayed up the rest of the night then, because, you know, I'm guilty. It's not because I'm frightened, it's because my adrenaline's up. I'm ready for it, you know?
Yeah.
It's what I'm like, and it doesn't bother me. But I battled with this thing, and I thought to myself, UFO sat in the sky, purposeful, getting the knock at the conscious door to go and have a look at it, and then that happens at night, which is a very paranormally orientated thing, not by chance. And I remember in the morning, I decided to ring Barry, and I talked to Barry, and I said, Barry, I said, I've got something to tell you. And he said, before you tell me, he said, all hell broke loose at the house last night.
How did Barry know? Oh,
Well,
he had it at his
He had
house
it-
too?
Well, he had it as well.
Oh, snap.
Both targeted that night by the phenomena. He ripped his light fittings right out the kitchen, this damn thing.
Wow.
Was he grabbed also? Like, did he have the same exact experience as you?
It was non-human looking. It was in the corner of the bedroom. His wife was screaming out at him. He went flying in there. This thing pushed by him, almost knocking him over. It ripped the light fittings out of the wall downstairs.
Wow.
He was shocked how this thing got past his, because he's pretty good, Barry. He's quite attuned, but it got past him. And it took me by surprise as well. But the day before, we were doing the heavy, heavy research on the Babylonian and Sumerian demonology and the dogmen. And we got into some stuff that we found, and we thought, oh, this is really intriguing, and started putting two and two together. And that we took it, and we're used to this now. We took it as a slap on the hand, calm it down. Don't like us doing finding into too many of these areas. Then we have to respite, and we have to come away from that research for a week or two, and then we have to do it again. And this is what we've got to do. We've got to keep respiting on certain things because
just backing off, because otherwise it'll get too much.
Oh, it's terrible sometimes. I've got like hammering at the front door, bang, 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 and there's nobody there. The camera system, which is in at the front door.
Excuse me.
I've got CCTV cameras pointing at my front door. And what it does is it deleted that little file out of my CCTV.
No, stop it.
Now, the only way to delete that is to delete the file before. And it didn't. The file before's there. It deleted this file, which was 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Of the bang, 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 bang. And this is what's so annoying with them sometimes, because I know that what they can do. I know this from the experiments when we captured recordings on specialized units.
They would turn the camera around as well, correct?
They could turn the camera around so fast that it didn't take a photograph in mid-flow, and it's designed for 12 milliseconds, the camera.
Wow.
So it evaded 12 milliseconds.
12 milliseconds. So it went from there to there, faster than 12 seconds.
So this phenomena can operate outside of our 3D space and time.
Yeah.
It can operate out of all the parameters that we thought were real physical parameters. We do recordings, we capture recordings on equipment which aren't powered.
What?
They place the information on. We took recording heads out. They did it again.
So it doesn't even have the capability of doing the task that it's doing then?
Because they're not being recorded. What we thought for years, right, is that when we capture an EVP and things, when we hear them and it's harmonic, did you hear that? And you've recorded it, fine. But that's not always the case. You record an EVP when you're not hearing them. Is anybody there? And you record in a silent environment.
And then you listen back later.
And the thing is, how does that, just think for 1 second, that device you've got in your hand is a recorder. It's devised only to record harmonic sounds. If you didn't hear it, which you hear 20 to 20,000 hertz harmonic.
Yeah.
How did it
pick it up?
When you analyze the recordings, they're not human vocal sounds. It sounds like they are, but the frequencies don't match. The frequencies are higher than vocal sounds, which means, how did it get on there? Because the equipment can't record.
Wow.
Now we know it's called transplacement.
Transplacement. That's a new word for me.
Now, transplacement is that we did a test with Olympus, the manufacturers of recording devices, big company.
Okay.
And we had their guys, we had 3 of their brand new pieces of equipment, all identical, all running silently in an experiment. When we played them back, we had a female voice on one, a male voice on the other, and on the third
Stop it. You had different voices on each piece of equipment.
Pops and clicks. We don't even know what the pops and clicks could be, really.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
Super selective. Like
what we realized is that they're transplacing it. They're going, this is what I want on that. This is what I want on this one. This is what I want on that. It's transplacement. Now, here we get it. It gets really interesting. More experiments as we went on, right, we heard direct voice phenomena.
Okay.
Recording devices didn't record it, but we heard it. And the thing
So now
is,
it's working like backwards, where
It's where you
the
hear
way-
it, but it's not being recorded.
wow.
Exactly.
So
The
it's
reason
so
being-
intelligent
reason
and
being is that it didn't happen externally. It wasn't harmonic. It happened within us. We are also pieces of equipment.
we're bio
Yeah.
machines, right?
Yeah, and it's inner, coming from
In the
inside,
inner ear.
inner ear. This is the voice of God. This is the voice of alien. This is the voice of them. They can manipulate us like that. You know, what is telepathy at the end of the day if it isn't that by these aliens? It's exactly the same thing. It's transplacement. And the thing is that we've now got the evidence to show that. And it means a whole different ball game. It means that, you know, they can do things, manipulate the physics that we understand. It's
Yeah.
outside physics that we can handle.
I think our understanding of
So-
physics is not where it's at all.
So limited.
Simulated reality is coming to mind.
Yeah, I was thinking that
You know, that
earlier.
we live
Well,
maybe in a
you're right.
simulation.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, you know, there's a lot of evidence to point that, you know, there's certainly intelligent design within that. And
Yeah.
what is it that it interacts with us in
Yeah.
a trickster manner?
Right.
Multiple serendipities, coincidences, which are just ridiculous. Things that happen, you just say to yourself, well, do you know what? It's a crazy thing. It's just the universe doing its odd thing. But you know what? The truth of the matter is, something manipulates the reality that we're in. Now,
Yeah.
we now know that we can't break reality, but we can bend it in our favor through the power of suggestion.
Yeah.
We can change our mindset.
Yep.
We can put out for ourselves a positive streak so well that we envisage we have it, and we demand what we want, and we get it. And this is how people with the right mindset can manipulate reality
Yep.
and do very, very well out of it. You know, but the problem is society is designed to push you down, keep
Yes.
you down.
Yeah.
We don't want outthinkers. We want inwards. We want people to be depressed, upset,
Mm-hmm.
you know, problems, vexation,
Yep.
stress, all those sort of
Basically, a fear mindset is indoctrinated into us,
things.
right?
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they keep us with the fear, then we keep under the level. When we're under that level, it means that we can't get it to work with us, the matrix.
Exactly.
Now,
You know?
Mr. Mera,
Where your thoughts
in
go,
talking-
reality flows.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and Mr. Mera, on that note, with respect to our thoughts, where our thoughts goes, reality flows. In talking with Grant Cameron the other day, he mentions the wow factor in terms of how the phenomena has manifested itself for our discernment. That the wow factor, according to Mr. Cameron, is that the phenomena displays or exhibits itself in such outrageous ways in order to challenge our preconceived notions of reality. Now, with that in mind, the question I'd like to ask you, when we consider the other realities that are beyond our three-dimensional world, and how this affects our psychological framework for understanding the UFO and paranormal phenomena, what are the implications in terms of how this may influence our collective consciousness as it stands today in our current zeitgeist?
Yeah, okay. Well, there is a collective consciousness. We are aware of that. There's been numerous programs monitoring, worldwide consciousness programs. There is definitely a connection. And it's not... It's linked into everything. We just didn't really realize. When we had the old experiments in telepathy, and we realized, well, you know what? We can't just get two people. It's got to be the right people. They've got to be in tune. There has to be a receiver and a transmitter for it to work. It's just that, you know, these pair can't very well. They Bluetooth pair to each other very, very well, that conscious connection in the sense of speaking. And you get better results. Consciousness is a big thing, and it's associated. But this phenomena, all phenomena, reads it, knows it. You know, it's what they do. They're masters of it. We're puppets on a string. You know, they can manifest in multiple different ways. If it's for children, they can manipulate the thoughts that, well, you know what, the animated toys, for instance, small little men that seems to come
I
through
was just
walls.
speaking with somebody yesterday who saw Santa Claus manifest itself, and another entity manifested itself as a jokester with like the 3-pointed hat and the bells.
Yeah, Yeah, I had that.
Oh, you had that too?
I've
Whoa.
had that. Yeah, I didn't like that.
I'm not a
it's
fan
all-
of clowns either, so I feel you.
Well, yeah. He used to come. His face used to start slowly come through. Actually, it was. But it's yeah. I had the jester experience after I had balls of light. I saw balls of light in my bedroom, and when I was younger, and I adjusted the jester. For sure, I had a bit of a crazy life with this phenomenon. In fact, I actually, though that I never lecture that I'm an experiencer because it's just. I don't think it's abnormal. I think it's normal in some sense because I'm a targeted individual. I have been since I was 7 years of age, but
7.
my first experience. And since then, the world of the paranormal and UFOs opened up to me on a regular basis, and for those in my environment, they'll witness it as well. And
A hitchhiker effect.
It's just the door's always open. The door, I can't shut that door. It's always open. Sometimes you come calling. Sometimes they leave me alone. But I'm always monitored.
What happened when you were 7? May I ask you that? Do you mind sharing that story?
Sure, yeah. I woke up in the bedroom early hours, and I used to be asleep. I used to really sleep right through. Never normally thinking of waking up in the hours, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
And out of the darkest corner, I knew something was in the room before I even saw it. Out the darkest corner of my room, the darkest, walked an entity, a non-human entity walked out.
Okay.
Now I can't say that it was like a grey, but it was brown.
Okay.
Okay.
I think brown and a little wrinkly. It was a little bit different than the greys that people have shown me and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but those eyes, I couldn't move. It had me straight away, and it came right up to my face like
Oh,
this.
wow.
I was perched on the end of the bed, and I remember I had one of those bed quilts on, which had an embossed fluffy pattern, and I had these little loops on the end of the blanket, and I remember in my frustration, I was tearing them out in frustration because I couldn't move. I was pulling this apart. It came up right up to my face. But what it was is the only thing I can describe it was is that it was there to test my emotions, because the next minute I'm happy and I'm jumping up and down on the bed, right?
Oh, wow.
And laughing. I'm laughing and jumping up and down on the bed.
You went from paralyzed to jubilant.
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm jumping up and down on the bed. I don't know what I'm laughing at, but I'm happy.
Oh.
I'm laughing, yeah, it completely had me under control. And then the next minute is that I am back perched on the end of the bed, and I'm crying and I'm sobbing and I'm very upset. I'm sad. And again, I don't know, what the hell was going on. And then the next thing, it came up to my face again and grabbed my cheeks and pinched them. And it pinched them 4 fingers, 3 fingers and a thumb. That I do remember. And it pinched me on the cheeks so hard I was feeling pain, discomfort. I think it seemed like the whole process was about emotion. And then it said, basically, it slowly started backing into the corner. And it said, do not be frightened. But it didn't say it. Transplacement in my head. Do not be frightened. And it didn't walk away. It didn't turn. It backed away into the corner and it was gone. And then I kind of realised what happened and I went ballistic. And of course, I was screaming the house down. The lights went on from then on, never off. That was my first experience.
Now, Mr. Mera, when this experience happened to you at 7, and when you told your parents, what was their reaction? And the second part of my question is, have your parents at any time, or your grandparents, while you were growing up, said, "Hey, the same thing has happened to us"?
Well, not really. I mean, my mother and father just kind of put it aside. Oh, it's just a bad nightmare. Don't worry about it.
They just dismissed it, right?
But then things went on. I mean, I remember.
So that was just the first of many?
That was the initiation.
Oh, initiation. That's an interesting term to use.
That's how I see it, as initiation.
Okay.
And I think they knew. it's a concept of mine that they know what do all deities want? What does all phenomena want? He wants recognition.
Admiration.
We give it. We're the flock. We give that information out to the people. This is what they all want. That's all power to them. It's all acceptance. And this is what they want. Now, the thing is that we do that for them. Yes, I get that. And I do that when I'm lecturing. But this is the ultimate thing that they're after, is that recognition. Now, for me, what my mother said, Stephen, you're just having nightmares. I see it as initiation, because I consider, and I know I only consider this now because when doing experiments, we've been told of things that are going to happen in 18 months or further along the line,
Really?
which come to fruition. Oh yeah, when they
so
tell
it's
us
like
things
predictive in nature also.
Oh yeah, they can predict easily.
Okay.
So I don't know how far back they can go, but I do know that they can get 18 months right on the dot, and not just one.
Precognition.
They are aware of future events. So it makes me think about the source, you see.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that if that is the case and your destination is predestined to some degree and it's controllable or manageable by something, the source, whatever, I often consider, well, what they want is somebody to be able to deliver their word. It's like the word of God. It's like the word of any deity. Deliver the word. Well, I'm a good deliverer. You know, if I speak to 5,000 people at a lecture, travel all over, I do their job for them, and they love it. But what if they put me on that path? What if my initiation was to get me to this point now to do what I want for them? I have to look at this in all different ways now. I can't look at it in just one format anymore,
right?
Because you know that they're aware about future events. So I have to think, well, did they know I was going to be this person, or did they, because all I needed was a prod, and that was when I was 7 years of age, and got me on this path, took me off my path onto that one, and that steered me to where I am now. I don't know, it's questionable, but the thing is, you have to ask all these questions now, and when I say initiation, that was the first experience, and then it never left me.
Yeah,
it's still today as it was from when I was 7. I still have experiences.
What's been your most recent experience, if you don't mind me asking? What's something that happened, recently?
My recent experience. Okay, I saw light. I woke up. There was a light coming through my window, a bright light, and I thought, "What is that?" And because I know there's cars that goes past and things, but not directly shine into the bedroom. And I looked out, and there was nothing. And yet, you could see my shadow very prominently on the wall behind me with an orangey white light.
Okay.
Filling the room. As if there was a light there outside my bedroom window. I couldn't see.
But there was you couldn't see the source of it.
I couldn't see the source, but I could see the light on the wall. So that was an odd one. Then there was, before that, there was a ball of light that appeared in the tree opposite my house. It was about the size of a football. It moved around the branches cleverly, and then it's imploded.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, you mentioned, Mr. Mera, that all throughout your life, from these formative years where you've experienced and encountered the phenomena in various ways, shapes, and forms, and I remember you mentioning that perhaps when you reflect on why that the phenomena wants some kind of recognition or acknowledgement that it's there, and because you have such a huge platform globally where you've spoken at many conferences, you've talked with various heavy hitters in the field of ufology and in phenomenology, do you believe that the phenomena itself, is there some kind of energetic, I hate to use this word, is there some kind of like vampirism, energetic vampirism that the phenomena feeds off of in order to manifest or stay alive, or is it nutrition in some kind of way?
Get it. Yeah, I do get it. I know exactly what you mean. I know. I'm just probably putting it in different words, but
yeah, I get it too.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, in many cases, the phenomenon is parasitic. He likes to feed on people with stress, vexation. If you haven't got it, it can create it. If you're a producer of it and it can feed from you, it will do that. Vampiric in nature. you know. In other cases, it wants to usually attack or attach itself to people with low iron in their bodies. So I'd always boost your iron levels. Most of the people that are having those traumatic experiences with this phenomena have got hardly no iron. It's zapped their iron out of the body. And they don't like it. They don't like that. So pump yourself up on iron supplements, even drinks of water. I have them, iron water. It's actually satchels of water I buy on Amazon. And it's from the Romans used to do it, but it's actually got iron in the water. Now, all the water we used to drink had things like that originally, you know. But now it's all filtered out. You don't get it.
Right.
It's purified so much that there's no hardly iron content in the water. In other words, it just took all the goodness out of what water. We need earth inside us.
Yeah, we need those minerals, right?
The minerals. We're part and parcel of this planet. You know, the chemicals in us were made of this and the stars. So the fact is that, you know, when we used to having it and now we don't have it because it's purified so much it's taken out, we end up with problems. That problem causes imbalances in your iron, you know, in anemia. You'll find that in some cases when the phenomena attacks, it can attack in a sense and even take your iron content from you. That means it's preparing you for further contact.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and that's what's happened in the case of Colaris, where villages were attacked by these UFOs and lights were shooting through roofs and walls. And when they did blood work on some of these victims, which are in the dozens to hundreds of people that were attacked, they found that they had a lowered iron content in their blood.
That's an interesting implication.
Yeah, that was it was a purpose act. It was a beam of light that penetrated the roofs. It would go through walls and ceilings. You couldn't get away from it. It hit you whilst lying in bed. But you're immediately paralyzed. It switched you on. In other words, it's activated your paralysis mode. And you can't move. All you can do is in tremendous, tremendous pain is just sit and bear it out. It lasts for maybe 30 seconds, which is a hell of a long time when you're in pain and discomfort. And it's a horrific nightmare for them, as you can imagine. And then the light beam just blinks out. It's coming from an object above, which are seen firing these or, you know, shooting these, whatever you want to refer to these, down through. They knew how to target those individuals even in their homes. People were frightened. They tried to keep out of the way and not be seen, but, you know, it didn't really work. Now, it was in a location where there's not a police state there. It's not really militarized zone. It was an agenda to hit a small village over a period of full year. Well, actually, it was just over a year, 78 and 77 and 78. How many people were affected by this? Was over 1,200 people.
Wow.
Wow. And it made the news all over that country. The military made reports about it and whatnot. And, you know, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Mera, there are various schools of thought in the field of ufology. For instance, with the Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer's school of thought, where he says that these cattle mutilations, these human abductions, these attacks on civilians are military assets by these UFOs or aliens, are primarily from humans using reverse engineered tech, right? What are your thoughts on that? And my second question is, what are your thoughts on CE5 and human initiated contact, especially when we consider the historically consistent aspect of the phenomena having this trickster or manipulative element?
Okay. Most people know me. I don't pull my punches. I say it for what it is. I always have done, so I will tell you straight.
I respect that.
In regarding Stephen Greer's work, you know, I mean, this is to where I am, you know, you take it or leave it. But I know exactly what the situation is, but the problem is that Stephen Greer hasn't done his research. And if Stephen Greer do his research, then he'll probably find that I've got cases that go back 800 years of exactly the same phenomena, which predates technology. So how do we work that out? The mutilation phenomena, if you actually all you got to do is look at Ireland, and in Dublin, the main town hall there, they've got documents. And those documents go back hundreds and hundreds of years about the interaction of this phenomena, the mutilations of the cattle, mutilations of sheep. This phenomena rearing its teeth hundreds and hundreds of years ago before we even had flight. So goes back even further than that. Actually, I can go back into Indian history. For
With the
thousands.
Vimanas, right?
Vimanas.
Yeah. Oh, jinx.
Yeah, there were mutilations. There were cattle mutilations. You know, I've talked to people whose great grandfathers used to go out and rush out, and when the lights started coming down from the mountain, it was their job, and they were young kids, to go and get all the animal stock in. Otherwise, they end up mutilated or taken.
Wow.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
the thing is that you can't pass that off. I've got cases from all over the world, go back more than 500 years onwards. You can't dismiss them. And the problem is that it's a narrative, and this is Stephen's narrative, that he wants to. Now, I don't get it. You know, I don't blame him, because it could be used as the pawn to push the narrative that they are kind, loving, caring, and it's all love and light. And he might actually sincerely believe that, because he can be manipulated very easily by the phenomena. I mean, just look at you remember the aerial school in
Yes.
Zimbabwe?
Yep.
Zimbabwe.
Now I'm pretty much aware of that case inside out. And I talked to John Mack many years ago, bless him, when he was around.
Amazing.
The psychiatrist, the Harvard psychiatrist.
Yeah, John Mack was a really, really nice guy, John Mack.
He thought it was all credible, right?
Oh, he was all credible, absolutely.
Yeah, they tried to strip him of his abilities to do all that.
Well, you know what? This is Harvard, you know, and these places are like that. Same for Princeton.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
You don't like to. It's embarrassing for them. They don't know what to do. So let's try and shine a light, get rid of the person, get rid of the embarrassment, rather than trying to deal with it. Anyway, it backfired on them anyway.
Yep.
So, but you know, when you're looking at the aerial phenomenon, well, let me say that these parts of that demonstrates the deception. You know, all these children that saw this object come down, and an entity stood on top of this object. They all ran away, screaming and shouting, except for four. 4 kids remained. Why did 4 children remain? Well, I'll tell you why they remained. Because they were looking at the entity, stood on top of the ship, and they Bluetooth paired with it.
Yeah.
They lost the discernment straight away. They were locked.
They lost the fight or
Was
flight.
it when they looked in the entity's eyes, as they described it, right?
They were locked on.
Okay.
You don't have to you don't have to. The phenomenon itself can present itself as UFO, and
Okay.
even that can do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the conscious connection was generated. They were locked, and this is why 4 children. I mean, even 4 children were more likely to run away when all the rest of them were running away and screaming. They stayed through thick and thin, and they were locked on. And what happened was, something to the left caught their sight, and what it was another entity suddenly appeared and was running and skipping
Slow motion,
along.
right?
Slow motion, running and skipping, and they disappeared, reappeared, running and skipping along, and reappeared. It was like a recording.
Yes.
Right.
Like on a loop.
Like a glitch.
So
It was
what
glitching.
the entity was on top of the craft that had control of the children, needed them to get them focused on something else. So it generated that for them.
Ah.
They're locked in over there, looking at that. And whilst they're locked in, what did that do? It walked from the craft all the way up to being just 3 meters away from them. And they didn't even know. Then suddenly they realized that this thing is 3 meters ahead of them, staring at them, saying, I want you to come with us, not me.
Yes.
Now, if that's not deceptive behavior, I do not know what it is. That should send a shiver down any parent's back.
Yeah.
And that was kept quiet for years and years, because they want to bury this side of the stuff. They don't want people to know these bits. Where we lose discernment, we have no control. They can manipulate us. How are we ever going to get disclosure? They can't drop this on our laps. That this phenomenon is age old. It's under our noses. It can interact with us at any given time, and we can't do nothing about it. Can you imagine all hell would break loose?
Yeah.
The Nets can never disclose this without real big problems. So what they've got to do is disclose a narrative that supports the narrative, to keep us away from really understanding the truths and the roots of this phenomena. that goes back generations upon generations. In the 1963 through to 1972, we have Bell, the aircraft manufacturer.
Yeah.
We have Boeing, the aircraft manufacturers. We have Douglas, the aircraft manufacturers. And what were they doing? They were part of the similar studies that we were doing in Project Doorway and Phenomena Project around the sales tables, because they'd opened and managed to contain an open conduit with the source, with these guys,
Wow.
and tried to get advanced information on advanced technology from them. Exactly the same thing the Vril Society were doing during
The
the
Vril
Second World
Society
War.
with the Nazis.
Exactly
Yes.
the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know what? They will never give you everything. They give you little pieces.
Right.
And
Little
you've got to try and
breadcrumbs.
work out as an aircraft manufacturer. Well, what's that do? What's it mean? How does that work without? How do we do? They never give you everything, because the idea is to keep you coming back, keep the excitement level up, keep coming back, and while you're getting more and more excited doing it on a regular basis, it's getting under your skin. And when it gets under your skin and gets hold of it, that's what they want. And this is the same for that. Same for these things. It's the same for it all. It's all the same source, I would say. The undertone, it's like a lemon, never forget the taste.
Yeah.
And for me, I can recognize it now. And this is why I don't trust them. They know that I don't trust them. And they also know that how I can sort of manipulate or defend myself in certain ways. And sometimes I've got to take, I can't get away with it all. Sometimes, I get in trouble for what I do, but it has to take respites and things like that. But that's the problem. And Stephen Greer, when he does, and the second part to your question, CE5, I mean, having 5 or 6 people meditating in a key location wanting phenomena to manifest in the skies, it's think about it, guys. It's exactly the same as having 5 mediums around a sales table and having it manifest. It's the same process.
Yeah.
It's just all you're doing is changing the location.
Okay.
And that same process works. If you really truly want to do it, it works.
It does work.
It does.
It does work.
Phenomena will rear its face. It works. And phenomena will rear its face. And Stephen will go, oh, and don't get me wrong, it is the real phenomena. It's rearing its face.
Absolutely.
And he's taken photographs. I don't know if you've ever seen the floating entities talk.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one that looks like an angel, like mid-stride, right? Or
Yeah.
Bijou.
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 When you say an angel mid-stride, right, okay, you'll see a different concept now. Match the face to what was seen by Aleister Crowley.
Oh,
Lamb.
Lamb.
that big-headed creature, right? Yeah.
It is
Entity lamb.
exactly the same. The thing is that he doesn't realise, or he's being used, one of the two.
Okay.
But he's got a great
Interesting.
flock. Brings the flock either way,
Now, I feel the need to ask you, I'm sorry if I'm cutting you off, but, we've used a lot of words that seem to have like a negative connotation, right? Like trickster and manipulative and, they want attention. Now, in your opinion, because I don't know, and forgive me for not knowing, but do you think that this whole entire phenomenon is like malicious in nature, or is there a benevolent aspect to it that we're just not mentioning yet? Like, where do you stand on that?
Well, do you know what? I think this is human thinking. You're thinking malevolent or malevolent.
That's true too.
What if I told you none of it exists?
Yeah.
What if I told you that there was only agenda? Here's an example.
Agenda.
What do you
What
mean?
is the agenda? All right, let me say. If suddenly you're arrested by 4 police officers for a crime you didn't commit and you were taken up and thrown into a cell, did you have a good experience or a bad experience?
Most would say bad.
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 Say bad.
Right.
Okay, well, why is it a bad experience, right? Because they're only doing the job.
They're taking away our freedom and confining us.
It's just a job. They don't think that they're going to take away your freedom. There's just agenda. It's just their job. They're told what to do and they do it. The police officers aren't thinking if you think it's a bad experience or it's a good experience.
They're
All
just
they
doing their
think
job.
is doing my job.
Yep.
And we are left afterwards trying to work out, well, is that a bad experience? Is it a good experience?
It's
Yes,
just
they
an
mess with our
experience.
Yes, they mess with our heads sometimes. And we might conceive that to be a very positive thing. But then they can do some bad, people might say, well, they can do some bad things. But they do what they want to do. It's simply just what they want. It's just agenda. They don't have the emotions about, I tell you now, they do not consider our reactions. I know this, right? But these things have turned around and said to people, oh, I'm sorry about the discomfort after an alien abduction. This woman lost her eyesight, was burnt out. Her eye was burnt out.
Oh, wow.
Phenomenon. She lost her eyesight in it. And it turned around and said, I'm sorry about the discomfort. I mean, come on, these guys, these have complete disconnection with emotion. Complete void of emotion. It is just actions. That's all they do. The problem is that we, us humans, have to put things into some emotional group. And we've got to say, well, that's a real bad experience. Or, well, that's actually just an okay experience. Or that's a really good experience. But don't forget, people will be perceiving things that might draw that conclusion. They might say, oh, it looked to be like an angelic type being. Do you really? Do you want the warning signs on angelic type beings? You know, there's one in an Annunciation image painting with the beam of light coming down from the sky, hitting Mary on the forehead.
I have that saved on the computer.
Beautiful. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of thousands of images painted years ago representing the phenomenon that's always been with us.
Right.
However, what's going on in the street is more interesting, because in the street there's an angel and it's whispering in the Pope's ear. And that's based on true facts.
And it looks demonic. The angel looks demonic, correct? Or am I thinking of another painting?
There are other paintings that produce the angel as a demonic character. In that one, it's produced as an angel. Because when I said the mask is always changing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It all depends on who's perceiving it almost, right? And you said earlier that when you had your encounter as a 7-year-old, you said that you felt the entity was studying your emotions. And now you just said that it's emotionless. So it's almost like we're the subjects of the emotional experiment, maybe, or study, maybe. I don't know what words to use to describe it.
Well, yeah, with the learning, they're trying to evolve, and they are evolving just as we evolve.
Okay.
The thing is, though, that angel in that street whispered into the Pope's ear, based on fact.
Okay.
He was told to invade Constantinople.
That's right. I have heard that before.
And 380,000 people were put to death.
Wow.
Because of the influence, because of the angel whispering in his ear. The thing is, it's always connection with death. Is death connected with a lot of things? The thing is, now, it's interesting to know that even the production of weapons systems around the world, chemical facilities around the world, have moved their facilities into negative red regions. Why have they moved them into negative regions, negative magnetic regions? Why have they moved them? Why have they relocated them? Why are they being built in those regions? Because the production level and the accuracy and the things that go in their favor are outweighed in those locations.
Energetic influence.
Well, it's all down to, it's like the old days in ancient times. It's no different than blood sacrifice. Except all we've got to do is press a button.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a grander scale. And on that
so you mean to suggest, Mr. Mera, that the phenomena feeds off of negative human emotion and suffering?
Yeah. Bingo.
And this is in accordance with what some of the people from ATIP have suggested. Jim Simivan.
I will tell you, I don't say it very often. I will tell you that there is a war going on and we are not winning.
Okay.
What do you mean? Elaborate, expand on that, please.
Well, they've been at war for a long time. I mean, the fact is that, you know, we consider lots of different things. When a priest whispers over, the Bible starts with the war in heaven, and everybody thought we won. The thing is that there's a war going on about this negative positiveness, you know, and though that we are enlightened enough to try and follow a certain path, we will inevitably be dragged into darkness, and it repeats. History repeats itself time again. We are doing now what we did 100 years ago, and 1,000 years ago, and 10,000 years ago, and 100,000 years ago. We're doing the same thing over and over again. Thing is, you know, the deliverance of blood sacrifice, or even on a grander scale now, is worth so much effort by certain deities, is that it will demand it, it will encourage it, it will reward if you do things in a certain way. That's why negative stuff is so highly promoted, because it's beneficial. Why do you think there's so much bad stuff goes on in the world? Why do you think you hear about certain sects which are praying to certain deities, you know, or doing bad things, terrible things?
Yeah.
You think, what did he get out of it? Well, I'll tell you what they get out of it. They get wealth, they get health, and they get prosperity. And the thing is that that's all they want in this life. And that is for what they go. And it breeds and it sells. And the thing is, it encourages the negative to outweigh the positiveness. And that is the big, big problem we're faced with today, because there's a lot goes on that we don't hear. This is only the tip of the iceberg, how deep this phenomenon goes.
Yeah.
Many masks, it's in every religion. It's rooted itself in every society. Everybody thinks it might be something different. Well, that's great, because that's what it wants. It's not demonic. It's not angels. Even though that's a mask, it's a source. That source interacts with us in multiple ways. Sometimes it helps us. Sometimes it gives us a lending hand. Sometimes it allows us to win the lottery 3 times in a row. You know, it happens. But the thing
what is the ultimate objective? You know, it's been suggested that the phenomenon itself has created world religions as sort of a cargo cult to kind of steer humanity towards a certain direction. What's the ultimate goal aside from recognition and energetically feeding this vampiric aspect?
What does it want? What it wants is worship and acknowledgement, which we give it, because what is worship? Worship is worship, not worship. There's nothing about worshiping God. It's about worship. It's about how much effort and work we put into it. Like you and me and everybody else, the amount of work that we have to do this, it's worship. In a sense of speaking, we're worshipping the phenomena. It's just a matter of words. It's been twisted over the years. There was never any worship. It's worship. It's what you've got to do. Your time, effort, blood and sweat to put into this, that they like. That's rewarding to them. They love that. And they'll promote it through you by giving you chances sometimes and opportunities to do so, if it's rewarding to them.
Okay.
But people, it's very difficult to keep. I don't know if I'm losing you guys, but there's a pattern of events
I'm with you.
place through history. And the problem is that every now and again when we get close, it throws a new narrative out. Boom! Oh no, it's got. Oh, we're getting a bit close. Let's
curveball.
Curveball, and then we all go off track and start focusing over there. You know, and then all of a sudden, after we start getting closer, oh no, it's over there. And this is what it's been doing for centuries, backwards and forwards. It's demons, it's angels, it's aliens, it's all this.
You're saying it's all the same.
All the same mask.
It's all source.
Just as AI said, it's all the same source, multiple masks used. They can create it, or whatever it is, can create physiological constructs. We see apparitions open doors, they're physical. We can physically interact with aliens. People have said that they've been hit by Bigfoot, whatever. It's the physical and metaphysical, just as any angelic being would be, physical and non-physical, which is metaphysical. All metaphysical deities, they're all the same. The thing is, though, we all give them different names and different meanings. But what if there's a source at play? And the thing is that what we're seeing is the evidence towards the extraterrestrial hypothesis it's not there. I'm a guy who's trained to look for the evidence. What evidence do we have? All right, well, we might have had a civilization once on Mars. Well, I'll tell you that, it's probably us. Yeah, that's us. We were probably from there.
Okay.
And we probably relocated after a significant war.
Nuclear war, right? Because there's evidence of it.
I'm down.
That's exactly the same as nuclear isotopes that we have created today.
Yeah.
A little bit more advanced slightly, but we're getting there. So basically, remember I said to you about history keeps repeating itself. It gets to a pivotal, and then it plateaus because you're getting too good, you're getting too close, you're asking too many questions, straight down. Back to the beginning again, guys, and you start to build it up, because all this stuff wants is keep a plant growing.
Okay.
That's all we are. We just keep it growing. If it gets too big, we have to trim it down, and then we feed it, and then it gets big again. Then we trim it down, and then we feed it. That's what human society is. That's what it does. Every now and again, we get to a pivotal point, start again. And we are, we're heading through into that probably in the next 100,000 years or so. So
Okay.
another pivotal point where mankind might have to reboot to some degree. And the thing is that all this phenomena wants with its interaction is to utilize us. It's like we're the growth for it. It utilizes us and it keeps us going. When it gets too dangerous, it cuts us back, and it just manages it.
So are you suggesting, Mr. Mera, that we're completely powerless? I mean, are we just automatons? Are we fodder? Are we food? I mean,
you'll never get powerless. Absolutely, we are puppets on a string. People we like to think we have some control. What if I said that, for the things that we know this phenomenon can do, it's equal to God, because your existence around you, the materializations around you, they can manifest. They can manifest the Garden of Eden if you wanted to. You could put you anywhere, and you think you'd be there and interacting. You could have, there were people that had interacted with this phenomena regular basis for 27 years, thinking that there was some spirit guide, and then he confessed to them after 27 years there was not. Some guy thought it was his lost brother who died when he was young, and he's been with him since, for years and years. Eventually confessed it wasn't. I talk to people in studies of spirit guides, and don't get me wrong, I believe there are spirit guides, but some of them, I ask the questions, I ask what you meant to ask. What's the spirit guide told you where he comes from? And what do you know about your spirit guide? Oh, well, he told me he worked here, and this is his name, and he did this. So I'll go and do the research. He never existed. And then I'll go and find somebody else. What do you know? Oh, mine's called Becky, and I died with a child in a train crash, and I was buried in Birmingham, and it happened in the 80s, and I'm a teacher. None of it ever true. Because you deceive. And time for them, 27 years of deception's nothing. It's not our concept of time. Their conception of time is completely different. The thing is, it's a long time for us. So you can well imagine that somebody being absolutely devastated after realizing 27 years, you've been thinking you've been communicating with your dead brother, and he never was. They like to do that on purpose sometimes. They throw you a curveball right in at the end. Just when you're solely accepted this, and then it'll go, and spit you out. And this is what they do. The problem is, I don't know if we can ever gain control over this. There is no religion going to gain control of this, because the problem is that religion has been part of the source. The manifestations. The manifestations in religion is the source. It's just doing it in a different way.
I have a burning question. I'm sorry. I feel the need to ask about the implications of NDEs and the stories that we've heard coming out of NDEs, and specifically the idea or the concept of us coming into this incarnation with a soul contract, right? Like before we incarnate here, we have like a meeting with a group of spirits or souls or whatever, and we lay out the frameworks for what lessons we want to learn when we're here, and then boom, we hop in, and now we're in a 3D reality. Where do you think soul contracts fit into all of this framework of what we're talking about right now?
Well, I don't really get into that, to be honest, because it's all theory. I'm a man of evidence, but I will tell you what I've been told by them.
Okay.
What? Okay, sure.
Okay, so the process of death is a multiple thing. There are multiple universes, multiple realities.
11 other ones, right?
No, there are 11 other realities around us.
Okay.
But multiple, when we say there's multiple of us, there are multiples of us living out on multiple Earths.
So other timelines, almost.
It's completely different. How do you explain it? It's a bit like you want to watch the Marvel films.
The multiverse.
There's multiple planet Earths. There's multiple you. There's multiple of everybody.
Okay.
That's what we've been told. There's 11 other dimensions around us that interact with us. 11 seems to be a significant number. The process of death is not for everybody. It's for those that can make it.
What do you mean?
Well, that's what I don't know. That's what we were told.
Oh.
Do you go to heaven? Well, one of those questions that we asked is, do you go to heaven when you die? For those that make it, was the reply.
Those that make it, indicating that there are those that don't make it.
That might get reincarnated. Maybe.
Wow.
I don't know.
There is also a waiting. There's a waiting place. It's a waiting of darkness. It's darkness.
Bardos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Purgatory.
Yes. These have strong connotations to the underworld, the inner earth. But then this phenomena has a very strong connotation to the underworld, inner earth, and geologically. Geological. So, the smell of sulfur. You say, if I said the smell of sulfur to a guy in demonology, it's always demonic.
Yes.
I said it to a guy in paranormal, he said, yeah, you get some of that in sort of demonic type of diabolical hauntings. You might get sulfur smells. If I said it to a ufologist, you say, oh, it's UFOs. They produce sulfur. You look at the James Fox one recently, moment of contact.
Yeah.
Yes, ammonia.
The
Ammonia and
Virginia
sulfur.
alien, yeah.
Actually died, one of these guys, because his whole immune system was depleted after coming in contact with this thing.
Yeah. The military guy.
You look at Falcon Lake incident, yeah, the guy got blasted by a UFO on the ground, left a pattern mark on his chest, taken into hospital. He sweat sulfur for 3 days. They couldn't get the smell out of the room at the hospital for 3 months. Just as seconds they couldn't get.
They had to shut down that wing, right?
They had to shut down the wing. They couldn't get the smell out of the room in Virginia after the guy had been in there.
Yeah.
So you'd say, okay, so it's got strong connotations with sulfur, hasn't it? And then you think, okay, what about cryptids and skunk apes and stuff like that? Well, you know what, they can smell like sulfur. They've been described as smelling like sulfur. Oh, so okay, so we got sulfur in the paranormal, sulfur in the demonological, sulfur in the cryptids, sulfur in the UFOs, and sulfur from underground. And you look at it all, and it all has a geological connection, and they're all interconnected. No wonder the AI computers turned around and went, it's all the same source. They looked into everything. The ball of light phenomena from the 1940s, from Foo Fighters, to the more recent ones, balls of light, the BOL light, ball of light phenomena in crop circles. No different. Manifestation of balls of light in paranormal phenomena in video recorded. Jackie Hernandez case, for an example, the entity case. There's plenty of cases with balls of light being photographed and filmed and seen, illuminating the room. Are they all different things? Are they all three different intelligent balls of light, or are they all the same source? The biggest mask of all and the trickery lies behind convincing us that these were all different things. It isn't. I believe they're all the same source, and we've scattered purposely in different directions, because God forbid if we all unite one day and all realise that yes, this is the same source and it is interacting with us in numerous ways, then we'll realise very quickly that you can't just go and disclose that. That's a massive, massive. So death, the process of that, is that yes, people do come back. Yes, they interconnect with a circle of people in life. So that, say, for instance, your life, you'll meet 3,500 people that are close in your inner circle. That 3,500 people are in your next life, but you might rotate. So
playing different roles.
You play different roles, sometimes different sexes, but you're played out in it's a computer program. That's all it is. It's just a mathematical computer program. It takes that block of memory. It goes, okay, that's your memory, and I'm going to put it over here, but it's going to shuffle it.
Okay.
And what it does is shuffles it around for you to replay and gather information again. Just a circuit. It's just another. The Matrix is just doing its job. And apparently, that people sometimes receive through the veil and they pick up information previously to the last. Yeah. All it is a ghost sector. All it is like a memory cell that doesn't format, because now you can go.
It's a fleeting image.
Yeah, you go format your hard drive and still get information off it. You've just formatted it. It's still there though. And why don't we find it? Is because we don't have the information to look for it. But what if I said that some people do have it and they can look through the veil and see the last life or bits from the last life? The problem is you can't really. It's an advantageous thing which is disallowed, because you imagine if you could remember your past lives and how powerful you'd be.
Right.
So
it'd be unfair. So you're not allowed to have it.
Yeah.
So the program gets rid of it for you and shuffles it for you to go through a process again. But sometimes there's a cell that you just ignites that sector, and sometimes you go, oh, I remember. How do I know how to do Morse code?
Right.
Well, you did do in your last life, and when it formats
genetic memory.
When it formats it, it didn't quite get it, and you've still got a bit left. which you can recall to the next one. So this is how they explained it to me.
Okay.
But then at the end of the day, they might all be lying, because I have to be honest and say, well, you know what, they could be deceptive.
Gosh, after considering all that, it could just be BS.
You know,
this is the problem we're faced with. So scientists are faced with it all the time with this phenomenon, is that it's fascinating to learn, but how much of it is truth? How much information is it? How much disinformation? Well, some things have come to pass. We now have Harvard professors that are confirming that there's 11 dimensions around us.
At least.
What we were told 6-7 years ago, which are interacting with us. 11 dimensions that are interacting with us. And some of them are traceable through sappings of gravity.
Yeah.
That's how they
right. Okay.
Gravity wells, that's how they found them.
Right.
So this, and this phenomena, when it manifests, it leaves a hole. Because it's like Einstein said, two things in space and time can't exist. The same space and time. Something's got to give. So what happens if it manifests in this hole? Well, there's something in that hole. There's gravity, there's light waves, there's all sorts of things in that hole. It's not empty. But when it manifests there, it has to leave. It goes somewhere else, whatever's in that hole, and this manifests and takes its place. Then, when it demanifests, it leaves a hole. That hole starts to shrink over 72 hours. If you get there quick enough, you can measure the gravitational disturbance, and we've measured it.
So is that kind of synonymous to like a boat leaving a wake in the water? It's almost like a residual evidence of it being there?
Yeah, it's a vacuum. It's a hole. It's a hole in space. It's a hole in space and time. It has to be
quantum
filled.
vacuum.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it has to fill. It takes 72 hours roughly to fill it.
72 hours.
In normal time. If you can get there quick, you can measure it. You can get something called a time displacement, DT meter, which we use, and you can measure the displacement in time.
Right. Because
why is the displacement in time? And light. Because the thing is that light waves can't escape gravity. The thing is, you get trapped in and pulled in. This is why people have reported seeing UFOs close to the ground, and the car headlights are bent towards it.
Right.
It's just why.
It's the same thing.
Can't get out of it. Gravity is strong.
Gravitational lensing.
Exactly.
Where do you think the Schumann resonance plays a role in all of this?
Well, the Schumann resonance is natural. You can't survive without it, to be honest. You're hearing it now, you just don't know it.
Okay.
You are, because what we had to do is that when we started building deep underground bunkers and people living in them or working in them for more than, say, 3 or 4 days, they had to artificially produce a Schumann resonance.
Right.
People were getting agitated and upset and angry. And
I remember hearing about that.
Properly. And that's because they're disconnected from planet Earth's natural frequency.
Right.
So living deep underground is not for us. Not for us. And when people did do it in ancient times, it was for short periods of time.
Okay.
Not long periods of time, because we would have been disconnected. But the Schumann resonance is there. It's 7.8 hertz or something like that, and we do pick it up. Now the thing is that our ancestors knew it and heard it. We know because they can demonstrate it through the things they did and the practices they had and the worship process of worship and the structures that they built.
Yeah.
Right.
We know that they were highly more evolved than us. But the only thing is, though, that we can't dig up a bone and tell them that. All we can say is, well, they were this big, they lived there, they ate this, and this is how they lived. They can't tell us nothing about the consciousness,
or their thoughts,
the
right?
spirituality, the capabilities. They can't tell us anything about that. Our ancestors were far, far more superior than us. But the thing is, we've gone backwards within ourselves and gone forward externally in technology.
Yeah.
Which means we are kids with matches now.
I always say that. I'm like, somebody take the matches away from the children.
It really is. The level is completely